All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome here to the Gamers Realm. Of course, my name is KOTETSU, and today I'm going to be running the show. We have an awesome guest here today. But first, let's go ahead and introduce the rest of the crew here. If you guys can introduce yourselves today.
Hi, it's Atari X. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hey, AWAKENBAKON. What's going on, guys?
And this, what's up, guys? It's Mr. Switch. How's everyone doing?
And of course, we have our awesome guest. One of my favorite. He plays one of my favorite characters in the Zelda series, man. So hyped to see him in Age of Calamity too.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you.
We'll allow him to introduce himself as well. Go ahead, Jamie.
Well, I'm Jamie Mortellaro. I'm a director and casting director and voice of Prince Sidon. Well, the casting director and director of Breath of the Wild, and then also the voice of Prince Sidon.
Yeah, that's actually really cool to be able to voice a character and then also still be a part of the behind the scenes of that as well.
It was so epic. It was so cool. As fun as it is to play the game, it was just as much fun to work on Nintendo. They're always amazing, and they couldn't have been more supportive in the process. And we just had such a great time. All the actors are great. Everybody was so excited about it.
That's cool. And so, if you mind blessing us with your origin story, let everyone know.
Origin stories.
Let everyone know where Prince Sidon came from, where you started, how you got involved with all these incredible projects that you've worked on.
Well, 99% of the time I'm a director. That's what I do, and I come from advertising. Originally, like all through college, I used to work for Oprah Winfrey. I did all my internships in Chicago with her, and it was great. And that. From there, I started at a company called Leo Burnett Advertising and created everything from the Keebler Elves to the Marlboro Man to Green Giant to everything. That company created that. So I was there for a long time as a producer, and then producing TV commercials, and then I was hiring guys like Michael Bay. So it was a really great place to be at. And then I was writing commercials before I left, and then when I left, I started directing TV commercials. That's when I came out to Los Angeles, and I directed a lot of Nintendo commercials very early on. Like I directed the first N64 commercial. I directed the first Game Boy Pocket commercials, and I directed the first Bomberman commercial. So I go way back with Nintendo, and then from there I got involved in games. My rep for commercials said, "You should really get involved in this," because I graduated from Second City in Chicago, and I was part of graduated from Players Workshop and a founder member of Theater Sports. So for me, it wasn't about pursuing acting. It was about making myself a better writer director. And so it just fell into place working on games. And I started directing games. And my first game was EverQuest 2. And that was about 110,000 lines of dialogue. It was the biggest game ever even attempted, at that point. And it was the biggest game ever recorded for a long, long time. And so that's where that started, and it just kept on going. I've directed a lot of motion capture and for games, and just loved doing all that. And when I got the Zelda, the Breath of the Wild, I really wasn't told what it was at first. I was saying, "Are you available during these times?" And we've got this thing. Then they brought me in and revealed it to me that this was going to be Zelda, and it was going to be voiced, and it was going to be huge. So that was a lot of fun hearing that, and that casting process was even more fun. It was intense, but finding all the great actors for that project was really just a big moment, and a bigger moment was telling them what it was. After they booked it and they didn't know what it was, and then when they finally came in, we were able to tell them what it was, and everybody was pretty excited.
Yeah, that must have been hard to keep that in. It's like, I want to tell everyone what this is, because they're going to be so excited. Man, that's cool. Like I said, man, my favorite character in Breath of the Wild was Sidon, because of just his gusto. I think that's what it was. Just his gusto, and how how his royalty has just made him like this. Like I said, this really gusto, this proud, this warrior, but prince who is trying to help.
Very encouraging.
Very
encouraging, and he sees the good in things, and is pushing things along. And I really aspire to be that way myself. As a director, I'm always like, try to make people, inspire them to do more and to be themselves and not have fear and really show themselves when they're performing. So I really admire that character.
Yeah, that's still awesome to have you talking to us today.
You're so nice. Thank you.
So
the character's
we're gonna
great. This much about me, and most of it because of the because how it was written and how it was designed and stuff. I'm just fortunate to be a small part of it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're gonna kick it over to the co-host here, Xavier, cool. Awaken Bacon. Whoever wants to go first with your questions.
I'll go. What are some of the craziest efforts done in your career? What are like some of the craziest like lines you had to do or voice that you had to do for one of your games?
Well, like I said, most of the time I'm directing. There's been so many. Literally, we're trying to figure out. I've probably directed well over 1 million efforts, over the years, and there's been so many insane styles of efforts, and everyone is different. And you want to make sure when you're talking to the client, what weapons do the characters have? How are they attacking? What are they getting hit with? So it just doesn't sound like that it's unique to each game. One that was very unique was Let It Die. That was, I don't know if you know that game, but it was.
Love that game.
I played that. That game is crazy.
Oh my God.
It was crazy.
It's a good time.
And the cast of that, they were just so thrilled because we had, Mark Hamill, we had Wee Man, the cast was just unbelievable. And I was so thrilled to cast and direct that. But there's so many insane directions, like, talking to Fred Tatasciore, he's the voice of the Hulk, and then he's got a player character in that game, and his arms are bodies, and the neck is his wrists. So he's attacking with these bodies. So how does that sound? And so many different ways to do it. Myself personally, I've done there's a few games, but I never take a credit for it. So I'll do a set of efforts or this or that, and most of them are in the world of attacking, getting hit, and dying. And then it's just, the length in between and how specific it is to that particular project. So, you thrash yourself because you want to give everything you can to, every moment. And the actors go for it too. I always have to watch them because all the actors want to do so much. And I'm always like, hold back just a little bit, because I don't want them to literally physically permanently hurt themselves, because they'll go in there and they'll sweat from their shirt, from the top of their collar to their waistband, just giving everything they've got. And you're just like, just take a rest. No, I'm good. No, let's take a rest, and they're just amazing. I'm so fortunate to work with such great actors.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what it takes what really goes into the of getting hit, receiving a hit in games to make it realistic and to blend in and flow as well as it does.
Yeah, and you have to, because otherwise it sounds like everything else. There are some games, of course, when it's, melee and you have the, it's very, very short and specific. But when there's even more drama in a game, you want to make sure that feels right, that it's not just a, You want to make sure there's some depth to it, that there's some emotion behind it. There's a reason behind it. And, taking into account whatever the unique weapons are or ways to attack, and not just one level, that there's several levels to it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's all fun.
Just you've been working steady in the business for like 15 years. Is that fair? Maybe more?
Sure, 15. Yeah. A little more than that.
15, so many games that just go throughout the years and stuff. We'll say 15. Ape Escape, voice director on that, Secret of Mana, Hitman, Mighty Number 9, which I thought was super fun.
Fun.
Bloodstained and stuff like that, and like I was saying before, a lot of people don't know what it takes to, that goes into the amount of emotion and subtle feeling that goes into it, and that's your job to bring that out.
Those actors are some of the best actors in the world, because, on camera, you could have a look. You can't have a look in voiceover. It has to all come from their heart. it is just spellbinding to watch. And I'm not kidding. When you see them, the top of the top do it, you see them perform, it's like watching Rembrandt paint. And I know that seems like an exaggeration, but it is that amazing to watch. How do they just do that? Then you go in there and you're just like, you know, come here, my love. And you just sound like an idiot, you know, and you hear them go in there and they do it. They make anything sound wonderful and authentic. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, that's really cool. One thing that you did do that I found out was that you taught classes.
Yeah, workshops.
Did the eye acting studios videos that I watched, you know, just recently. Love those videos. You know, thanks, your voice is so smooth. And one of the big advice that you gave that kind of rang out to me is be good at your own voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that means so much to so many people, and also hard to learn. You know, everybody wants to have a certain kind of voice. Be good at your own voice, and then
just
you can
be good
learn.
at your own, because nobody sounds like you. Like somebody will come up and they're training. I was just talking to somebody on the phone the other day, and they said, "Oh, I could sound like so and so from this game." I'm like, "That's great," but a lot of people could try to sound like them. But when you're auditioning, nobody could sound like, I mean, like your regular voice when you're putting on a character or something. Everybody could sort of imitate that, but your normal speaking voice, especially beginning, it's just be good at your own voice. That's going to be hard enough to be a great actor just with your own voice. But then as you get more comfortable, you start putting maybe a little age, younger or older, maybe a little accent, maybe you change the behaviors. Maybe there's a stutter, or they might think about things. You try to add little behaviors to it, but being really good at your own voice, adding behaviors and then accents and age and all those kind of things, that is a great, I think, path. Because if you start doing just characters right off, it doesn't, I don't think it works as well. It's you're starting with your own voice.
Because everybody knows that person that hardly ever talks in their own voice. You know, they're always doing impressions, and that becomes who they are and what their voice is. So it's funny. Like, what do you sound like?
Yeah.
As somebody who, you know, teaches the art of voice acting, what is something you would say, or the 10-cent advice you would give to somebody who may want to start out in that kind of work?
Well, I say, don't let anybody discourage you. Why not you? That's the first thing I tell everybody. But then I always try to give the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I try to always say first, you know, don't let anybody discourage you, because why not you? And it all starts with acting. I mean, that is the bottom line. It all starts with acting. Voice actors are just great actors. So you have to take acting classes. You have to do this. And of course, there are those anomalies that were just huge gamers, and they came up from childhood always playing at home and doing their voice, and they are not formally trained actors. But that is fewer and far between. The way to do this is acting classes. And now it's a little trickier, of course, but they do have online classes. There's a strange thing to this awful pandemic, that it's more difficult to go to classes and take classes and things like that. But now, because most things are recorded from home studios, that you have a different opportunity, that it doesn't matter where you live now.
Right.
If you have a good setup at home and you're a good actor and you're a voice actor, you could find representation and you could do it. But it all starts with acting. Understanding how to interpret a script, understanding how to create a character. Those are all those basic tools, almost like a golf swing, where you have, you know, there's like 50 things. I'm terrible at golf, but there's like 50 things you have to remember to swing. But you don't think about them all at the same time. And that's what's with acting. It's a muscle, and you have to practice it all the time. And then you start finding your voice, and then you start bringing that performance to a microphone, you know, a standalone microphone, as opposed to on camera. It starts with acting. So that's my 10 cents.
It's a good one.
I think so too.
Well worth it.
Oh yeah.
I think so too. I think so too.
I was thinking, your experience with Horizon Zero Dawn as a voice director.
That was great. I mean, Gorilla and Sony were just unbelievable. They were that story. When you first get information on it,
massive story.
Oh, when you first get that stuff, you look and you go, robots, okay, you know, you're not sure, and then you start reading this, and John Gonzalez, the writer, that story just blew me away. I mean, it stunned me what was going on. And you know, you're getting the scripts the same day, and worked with Ashley, you know, for weeks and weeks and months and months and months, and other people are coming in, and you're giving them these tidbits, but the story is so vast that it's hard to give everybody the entire story before they walk in. So you have to create this very like Reader's Digest version to each actor that comes in to direct them, to get them understanding the world that they're in, because it's modern prehistoric. So you have to be very careful working with Ashley. You have to be very careful of the sound and the rhythms, that it doesn't sound like, hey, what's up? Well, why would that be the thing that would still be consistent thousands of years in the future? You know what I mean? So it's modern prehistoric. So you have to really figure, okay, what do they sound like? And someone like Aloy, where does her strength come from? She's an outcast in an outcast tribe. She should be a puddle. But, you know, I don't want to give her any spoilers away to anybody, but why is she, where does she find the strength? Where does that come from? And we worked very, very hard on that. And again, Guerrilla, they're amazing. The stories come in, you're just going, oh my God, oh my God. It's like, this is just stunning. And I'd go to these conventions. Only reason why I go to conventions is because of Sidon, because nobody cares who the director is. So I get invited to these conventions because of Sidon. But then I'll have a bunch of stuff on my table that I've directed, and somebody will come up and they'll be like, oh, I'm about 50% through. And somebody that finished the game, they're like, oh, you don't know. You don't know what's happening. You have no idea. So they get very excited about it. And it is.
The game was so huge. I mean, I watched my son play pretty much the whole game. And I'm like, son, like, you get this? And I'm looking at it and watching them, and we're playing together. And then he's like, Dad, I got this. He's 17, so he knows what's going on. And I want to say real quick, someone in the live chat saying, her name is Dulce Maria, saying, I love the way you do Silent. Jamie, lots of love from Brazil. So
thank you to Brazil. Oh, love it. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Very kind.
For going on KOTETSU, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, I have one in your resume of works you've worked on. You've worked on Final Fantasy Kingsglaive, and that was such an amazing story, because for those who were getting into Final Fantasy 7 or 15, yeah, and you kind of, it's like a Breath of the Wild thing, where it's like you hear what happened before all this, but with Kingsglaive, it gives you such an amazing story about what happened. What's the, why the Lucius ring is such a big thing that only one person can wield it. And it was just amazing. And just the sound and just I'm a huge person.
Were crazy.
Yeah.
The visuals were stunning. They always do a great job. Anything on Final Fantasy is always, I worked on a lot of Final Fantasy projects, and it's always something stunning. I mean, I directed Mobius. That was for about 5 years. We directed the online.
I remember.
The mobile
really?
Mobius.
You guys did that? Oh, I played that. That was actually a really good game.
Bryce Papenbrook did that. Directed that for about 5 years. You know?
I'm always fascinated about, everything else in Final Fantasy is amazing, but a little thing for me is the architecture.
Oh, yes.
The buildings and the way things look in those games are always so love it.
I know. Yeah. I wish I'm a fan of it too. I wish I could take credit for it, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's stunning. They'll send, images, and you just go, oh my God, it just blows you away. In Kingsglaive, what they did on the video, just the film, the video portion of it blew us away, and going back to, the Horizon Zero Dawn, just, everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. When you first, again, like we're saying, you first hear robots, you're not sure what that means. And then it all makes absolute perfect sense. There's no fantasy in it. It's true sci-fi. It is true sci-fi.
I got a quick one for you. Game Awards that year when Zelda Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn came out, what were you voting for? You were teaching part in both of them. Like which one? Or
that was a great time going to E3 and seeing both those games. And then also I think at the time was coming out was Let It Die. So they were all there, and I was like, oh, they're all here at the same time. And yeah, of course, what are you gonna say? You love them both so much, and you want them both to do well. And those are awards. And does anything really, what defines a winner? You know what I mean? They're both so amazing. Those two games are just amazing. And I, like I said, I live in a world of gratitude, not attitude. I'm so thrilled to be a part of all these projects, and those two in particular were just stunning. Really, really spectacular.
Just the fact that they were nominated and all, all three games kind of sitting there at the same time, even though, I know that you were this portion of it, and then it took a team to do it, but just the fact that they were all three there, and you got to be like, I'm doing all right.
That was pretty trippy. And I was working. I only had 45 minutes that last day to get down there, and because I was working, and then you're just like, oh, you touch that booth, and what they did with Horizon or with Zelda was amazing. They had this booth, and you'd go in there, and they block. There was stones in there you could sit on and everything, and then they would show the trailer on this giant screen that filled the whole wall. And then when it was done and the music and the sound was great, then the whole wall rose up, and now you're basically in like in the Breath of the Wild, where all the computers are, where you could play and stuff like that. They did a great job presenting it at E3. Nice. They really did. Yeah.
Beautiful.
But it was fun to see that. It was a lot of fun.
That's super
is there one, excluding your current projects you're working on now, is there one project that you've worked on that you just absolutely just had a amazing, not saying you didn't have an amazing time, doing these other ones, but is there like just one where it's just like, that one was just like the one passion project, you put everything.
I'd be lying to you. And I'm not kidding. Every single one I work on, and I'm not just saying that because, oh, who's watching? I am not kidding. Every single one of them, I have an equal passion for. I love doing it. Like Hitman was, wonderful, because I worked on that for about 7 or 8 years, and I was a writer on those too. I had writing credits, and so that was just a completely great experience. And I have a couple of writing credits in some of the other games, but every one of them, I am absolutely. I am at 100% passion for everything I work on. There's never a time where I'm like, I'm working on this game. Jeez, I can't even imagine feeling that way. Seriously. I'm just, no matter what I'm working on. I remember working on a project that was like a kid's project, and I was like, oh, well, maybe if we change this and change that. And they were like, we're really happy that you're excited to be on this game. And I was like, yes, I am. I very much am, So I wish I could say there's one, but there's not one that I go, oh yeah, every one of them I love.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
My okay, when it comes to Breath of the Wild, I am a little bit of a late bloomer on it. I've played so many Zelda games, but it took me a while to get to Breath of the Wild. My wife, however, played it really early, and now my daughter's playing it now.
Oh, nice.
And when I told her, especially my daughter, that I was going to be talking to you today, and I was like, oh, it's the voice of Prince Sidon, and that's what all she knows. She's like, oh my god, I'm so excited.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Tell him that I play the game and me and da da da. And
she's there with you right now?
She's not. Liv.
Liv is her name?
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell Liv I believe in her to stay strong.
Yeah, she's actually probably watching upstairs. So
okay, come down.
Probably just
I Liv.
Just blew up right now.
Come down and say hi.
Yeah, that's very cool. Now it's a great game. It's very immersive, and it's got so much great replayability that you could play it for a couple thousand hours, literally, and still do things a different way.
You could cook for 200 hours.
That's all I swear in every game I would avoid cooking, because I was like, I don't need to do that. But I think after playing Breath of the Wild, I'm like, if the game that does not have cooking in it, it's just like, okay, what kind of takes away my experience of wanting to cook after Breath of the Wild.
Just that little beat that plays while you're cooking.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's like I cook just to hear that.
That's great. That's great.
Going to what AWAKENBAKON said earlier about the architecture of Final Fantasy, I think Breath of the Wild had amazing, like, even though it was just so, there wasn't much, but like just the landscapes and just to be able to see everything after. But even though the land is like a war torn, it's just so many colors and just the feel of it. And sometimes I won't even ride a horse. I'll just walk everywhere just to experience everything in the
you can. And there's so many people at the conventions that come up and talk exactly that. And there was a couple that really moves you. There was a woman that came up, and her son was very sad. He was highly autistic and such a sweet kid. We spent a lot of time together, and she said that he loves to play the game, and he will play it for a couple hours and just be completely immersed in it. It's one of the only things that just makes him very happy and relaxes him. And you hear those things, and you're just like, oh, that's and of course you pass it along to everybody at Nintendo, and those stories are just that's what really gets you too when you're working on these games, when people are really moved by them and it means so much to them, and so you're just so happy to be a part of it. And he's such a nice guy and such a nice family. We're just really sweet people. But they came up to me and were telling me about what the game has done for their family, and you're just like, you're getting choked up, and you're just like, okay, thank you very much. I think I'm just a very small part of it.
You can say that. I can totally say that. The relationship between my wife, my daughter's mother, and my daughter, excuse me, just over the past, because she played it a while back. My daughter's just now playing it. And the relationship that is formed between the two of them, because, with school and everything else, it gets rough and they, argue a lot. But at the same time, they can come together with, Breath of the Wild because they're both playing it. They both enjoy it. They both, love the voice acting and just the art and the way that it plays. So it does bring families together. And,
that's great to hear.
It's beautiful.
That's great to hear. I'll pass that along to people. That's wonderful to hear. Of course, again, my part of it, I'm thrilled to be a part of it. Nintendo is there, what they did for that project and the time and effort and energy they put into that is just unbelievable. It's a great company.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Well, we're starting to get to the end. As much as we want to keep you here, as much as I want to keep you here, we know you're a very busy man. We want you to keep making these amazing bringing these.
You guys are so nice.
Bringing these amazing games to life. And I think that's the biggest thing is just sound, man. If you don't have sound, the game just doesn't flow as much. Is there any last minute, anything you guys want to ask?
You can, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You can have a game and you can have voices and you can have sound in that game. But if it's a great game with crappy sound and not good, voice acting, not good attention paid to it, it lessens the experience of the game. You have a good game and you have good sound and you have good voice acting. All that brought together makes an amazing experience. So I thank you for you being part of that and helping meld all that together into one experience.
Well, I love doing it and I appreciate you guys very much, and I just really enjoy doing that and working with these amazing, I'm so fortunate to work with these amazing actors, and there's the new ones that come out and you watch them grow and you watch them build from just starting and a little nervous, and all of a sudden they're booking all the time now, and you're watching them succeed, and then you see in the ones that were really good and now they're unbelievable, and just watching that over the years has just been, I feel so fortunate all the time, and to be a part of it. So when you're part of that, you can't help but give like 100%. You can't help but be completely immersed and give everything you can to make, do whatever you can to make things as good as it can.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Sorry, X, you have a statement?
Well, I want to thank Jamie to be on here. It was awesome time hearing everything Yeah, it's great to have somebody from Chicago.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Yeah, Chicago. I don't miss the cold. I got to tell you, I don't.
It's starting to get cold right now.
Yeah.
It's coming over from Chicago to Kenosha right now.
Oh, it used to be when I used to go outside. My hair used to be long. I used to go out when it was 50 degrees below zero. You don't think anything of it. Now it's 50 degrees here in LA, and I'm like, I don't think I should go. I want to get a sore throat. You know,
I'm in Cali, so yeah, I know what that's like. I'm in Cali too, so I know exactly what that's like. Mr. Switch, anything?
Again, it was awesome to getting to get this opportunity, because opportunities, like I said, with the times that we are in today, and we're feeling isolated, and just again, it's tough. So everyone be safe. But thank you so much for this opportunity to be with us.
Thank you, man.
REX, AWAKENBAKON, KOTETSU for joining on this awesome experience with Jamie. For me,
I
if I have
appreciate you guys.
one last fast one.
Sure.
Someone had asked it. It's probably something that being a voice director was. But were you in any part voice directing anything with Age of Calamity? Can you answer that or no?
I was not. I was not. I could tell you that. Yeah. But yeah, but it was. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate you guys, and how much thank you for having me on. And it's been a pleasure. And just be safe, and just hoping everything turns around and everybody's safe and healthy.
Stay safe for sure, of course. Jesse, you want to go ahead and close up?
Yeah, just real quick before we close out, where can the people find you, Jamie? Where can they follow you? If you have anything that you have anything you want people to keep an eye on YouTube, Twitter, or in any of your social media platforms you have there?
There's some things that will be coming out, not right now, probably be a few months, but if you could follow me at JD Mortellaro on Twitter and Instagram.
I'll put the Instagram on there. I do have you in the description, so you can guys find Jamie in the description for his Twitter, and also information about everything he has done in his career. There's another link in there where you can find it in the description. And
very cool, very cool.
And
I got to start doing more tweets and stuff, and tweeting more stuff out. I've got some stuff coming up, so I will. And I did a few games I didn't announce that I directed, and but I got to start putting more stuff out there.
Yeah, if you do, man, we'll definitely retweet it and get it out there.
Thanks, you guys.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Guys, thank you.
All right, you guys. Well, this is where we're going to close. Thank you, Jamie,
Appreciate you guys. Thank you
for having you here. Thank you, Mr. Switch, for letting me to host this one today. We said before, you guys be safe. We're in trying times. Be safe, but also stay connected to one another as well. So we hope you guys have a wonderful night. We'll be seeing you guys on Thursday. We have another awesome voice actor on Thursday as well. Yes. So make sure you guys
amazing.
Make sure you guys watch out for that. We're gonna be there too. So without further ado, guys, we're gonna end it here. Everyone have a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for having you on.
So long, guys. Take care, guys. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we are off now. We're off the
all right.